Hi guys. So I wanted to do this to talk a little, do this video, words please, to talk a little bit about nonfiction in Portugal, in Portuguese, my experience with it, and basically why do I buy most of my nonfiction in English or from UK, let's say like that, like from Book Depository. Um, Before I actually start watching BookTube, I didn't knew how easy it was to get books about so many topics, and books they were like pretty pretty easy for people to follow even if they don't have a degree in that topic. So accessible non-fiction books, because we have lots of problems here in Portugal when it comes to published books. One of the things is the price to start. Of course, it's way too much, and we like. You guys have. When I say you guys, I'm just talking about what I see on the UK and on the US. So when I say you guys, you guys know what I mean. Have like a price for mass paperbacks and another price for hardcovers, and it's you have that distinguish, and you can most of the time find if it's not a very specialized, like very academic book, you can find it in one of those categories. Like if you want hardcover, you can have a hardcover. If you have a paperback, you can have a paperback. Things don't work like that here. Usually, you do have the usual books here come in paperbacks, priced like hardbacks, and when they don't, the translations are very poor, and they are like cut. This is for non-fiction and fiction in general, and like for example, fiction, fantasy fiction, or sci-fi have like very big books. So instead of giving us a big book, they sell us two books because it's twice the price. Because the price ain't going. It's no different. We pay the price. That half of a book. It's the price of a book. But anyway, so I'm always a little bit iffy with Portuguese books because of that. Because when it comes to fantasy, the translations, most of them are awful. Because in English, for example, this is a simple example. In English, you guys have the word you that can, depending on the rest of the phrase, can be very like you are talking to that person as if you know her and you are in good terms with her, or it can be very formal. We don't. We have like the word to for from formal, and you have você for formal. And people that usually translate do not, they mix everything, and then you have like sometimes like kids addressing, like even young kids addressing fathers in the formal way, when I know that can happen, but you can feel it's not supposed to be that formal. And then you have servants addressing people above them in a very informal way, and you're like, So yeah, that's an example. So, but turning back to nonfiction, our own nonfiction is, I mean, there is I don't remember the name of it, but there is an editor that does small books. It's like essays, and they do very nice pieces, and they are accessible to everyone, and they discuss topics from our country or just topics of general interest. And they are accessible, they are very inexpensive, they are paperbacks, you can take them everywhere, it's good. But there's a lot of our published non-fiction that it's just very academic, very like dense, very oriented for people that like a very specific type of book, that like that part of a very specific part of history, especially in the colony wars. There's a lot of that, and you know that they are targeting the people that actually fought during that time or that live in Africa during that time. Sometimes it feels very targeted to boys in general, to men in general, rather than to be accessible to everyone. I mean, don't get me wrong, but we women or people that are a little bit more feminine can like the topic of war, but you know, without you guys taking this in a bad way. I think you guys understand when I say that there's like a very masculine type of writing, and sometimes that doesn't appeal to other people, masculine or feminine or whatever. And this feels like that type of writing. And for example, history books. I do love history, and I want to know more about my country, but they are not accessible. They are not easy for people to go there. And I'm trying to find, because there's bound to be, especially a little bit older, and some, especially maybe a little bit older, the books that are a little bit more accessible and easier to start. And I'm looking for a book that I can pick up on a certain topic of our history, and I can read that and be like, yes, I understand this, because it's really strange, because they keep complaining that we don't read, that Portuguese people don't read that much, but in general, and it is true, we don't read that much, and yeah, it's just true. But then non-fiction, it seems that they don't want to sell that thing. To be frank, there has been in the past years, maybe 5 years if that, there have been efforts to bring non-fiction from outside Portugal and translate that. I have shown one of them here. It's The Hidden Life of Trees. I have already shown this book. I bought this new, and it was a total surprise, because I was literally going on in one of our bookshops to see what kind of non-fiction we have there. And I was very surprised, because this wasn't, for the book it is nature writing. It was in a very accessible price, but it was also in the middle of like the self-help esoterical books that are usually small, they are like slim and have like accessible prices anyway. I do really think that they thought that it was the place to put this, because it's not the first time that I saw a book of non-fiction being completely put on the wrong category. I did already talk about this here when I found like a pagan spiritual book on my library that was with fiction, and then I saw that it was like being marketed by the editors as psychology book, and I was like, really? You have been misplaced 2 times already. And this one, I think it kind of it was had the same thing happening to them. I think they thought this was like a hippie book because of the way that it talks about like the life of trees and like the amazing things that happen in the forest and how the lives are full of life, how the trees are full of life. So you guys know what I mean. We have really big problems when it comes to publishing books here in Portugal, and nonfiction is just a complete mess. And even libraries. I just can't speak for my library, but that one pagan/spiritual book that I found, it wasn't the only one put non-fiction book mixed with fiction. I have saw like the Letters of the Windsor Dukes, a book of true crime, a book about the history of writing. By the way, I do need to read that one because it was doing the rounds of non-fiction booktube last year, if I'm not mistaken. There's like a book about Queen Elizabeth's reign that it's mixed with the others because I'm pretty sure that they didn't check that book was non-fiction because of the title, because it's called The Pirate Queen. At least I'm doing a very literal translation from the Portuguese title. I'm not sure if that's the true title in English. But in Portuguese, it's literally called the Pirate Queen, and it's talking about how Elizabeth I used pirates to use. I'm paraphrasing for what I've read. Use like navy and pirates and all the impact that pirates had on the trading during her reign and the riches that they might have bring to the country. Let's put it like that. Makes sense, right? And I think that they saw like the Pirate Queen and they just put it there. And I do know that there is more non-fiction books mixed that I'm not remember. Those are the ones that I remember on top of my head. They are misplaced. So I it's really weird being Portuguese and loving nonfiction and going after it as translation, like as a translation to Portuguese, is really, really weird. And I wonder, is this just a thing here? I mean, in England, in UK, I mean, in the US, by what I see on BookTube, you guys have your have your things figured it out. You guys know where to help put non-fiction. They know that it is a thing, and that there's people that read it. They are just not like. It's very strange. Oh, there is also a type of non-fiction going on that people gobble it up. There is like the books, maybe biography or autobiography of famous people, or like self-help books of said famous people. You know, I'm not even saying like famous people like history figures or whatever. I'm saying the famous people from TV that you are kind of known on your country because you work on that TV channel and you have like a program on that TV channel, and then you have that amazing book because your life is so amazing. Or football, non-fiction about people connected to football because we love our football. I have nothing against the sport in itself, but yeah, I have something against the fact that we go like we just go crazy about football, and the fact that it is a sport that moves around such stupid amounts of money. That's the only way to put it. But well, that was the thing that I wanted to bring up the table for discussion on Nonfiction November, because you guys, I think a lot of you guys that watch or words, a lot of you guys here are from the US and the UK, I don't think you guys have any of those problems, have you? Is it? Because it looks like it is pretty easy to find non-fiction books on your countries. And if you are not from the US or the UK, how is it for you to find non-fiction? I mean, on the UK, I know that it's pretty easy to find non-fiction because when I went there to visit my boyfriend, and I went to a bookshop, the non-fiction part was mostly upstairs, if not all upstairs, and we went up. Oh my god, it was heaven on earth. It's like very diverse non-fiction, like nature writing, so much history. I mean, I was in England, and I do love the UK history, so I'm a little bit biased by the amount of UK history books I find, but it was amazing. It was simply amazing. But not focusing on the history, all like the nature books were basically a wall of them. I was just like, look, it's H for Walk and that book about the owls that I want, and it's spineless and all that. And it's just like, I need money. I didn't bought anything, but I mean, not there. I did find non-fiction on second-hand stores. Their second-hand stores are on point. Second-hand books here in Portugal, they are getting better if you go off online. But since the market of like new books is so iffy, the second-hand is also a little bit iffy. Not as much as it was. We can find pearls. I did find some pearls yesterday, and I may or may not have to talk about that on the book when I find on the preview, on the future video words, when I finally get the books. But this is going long enough, and yeah, the what I wanted to do with this video is know how easy or hard it is for you guys in your country, in your city, to find non-fiction books. And if you are on the US and on the UK, especially on the UK, you are blessed, my friends. You are totally blessed, and I am jealous of you, and I do want to go back to the UK and just, well, once to meet my boyfriend again, because I haven't seen him in a hell of a year, because 2020. And I do want to go around the second-hand bookstores and just go crazy. But yeah, do you guys let me know how it is on your country or on your city, how easy it is to get non-fiction books. And this is all for me. Bye bye.